A very good afternoon. It's the 12th of October 2023. Welcome to the lunchtime news here on TV1. For the News First team, I'm Sanita Senanayake. Before we take a look at the stories that we've got for you this afternoon in detail, let's take a look at the headlines. Agreement between Sri Lanka and China Exim Bank, a milestone in the debt restructuring process. Health Minister seeks Attorney General's advice against company which supplied smuggled medicine. Section between Imaduwa and Pinnaduwa along the Southern Expressway remains closed. Flood risk in several areas in Matara may increase again, says Irrigation Department. Final rites of veteran actor Jackson Anthony in Ragama this afternoon. The US Secretary of State Anthony Blinken travels to Israel. On to those stories in detail. The government of Sri Lanka has reached an agreement on the key principles and indicative terms of a debt treatment with the Export-Import Bank of China.
The government of the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka announced that it has reached an agreement on the key principles and indicative terms of a debt treatment with the Export-Import Bank of China. The agreement in principle covers approximately $4.2 billion of outstanding debt. Issuing a statement, the Finance Ministry said it constitutes a key step towards restoring Sri Lanka's long-term debt sustainability and will pave the way to a prompt economic recovery. The Sri Lankan government commends the engagement and continuous support of China Exim Bank in reaching this agreement in principle, which demonstrates a mutual commitment in line with the objective of restoring public debt sustainability consistent with the IMF-supported program. The Sri Lankan authorities hope that this landmark achievement will provide an anchor to their ongoing engagement with the official creditor committee and commercial creditors, including the bondholders. The statement added that it should also facilitate approval by the IMF Executive Board of the first review of the IMF-supported program in the coming weeks, allowing for the next tranche of IMF financing of about $334 million to be disbursed. Issuing a statement, Secretary to the Treasury K.M. Mahinda Siriwardana said, quote, "We thank China Exim Bank for the support in resolving our country's debt situation. This agreement constitutes a key milestone in Sri Lanka's ongoing efforts to foster its economic recovery." Unquote. According to the statement issued by the Finance Ministry, in the next few weeks, the Sri Lankan authorities and China Exim Bank will actively work on formalizing and implementing the agreed parameters of the debt treatment.
Sri Lanka's Health Minister has sought the advice of the Attorney General to take legal action against Isoles Biotech Pharma AG, the supplier of the human immunoglobulin, the drug that was issued to hospitals through forged letters. Issuing a letter to the Attorney General, Minister Kehele Rambukwella says Isoles Biotech Pharma AG has provided 22,500 vials of human immunoglobulin to the State Pharmaceuticals Corporation of Sri Lanka. The letter notes that a part of the stock of vials were issued to the medicine supply unit of the Health Ministry. The Health Minister points out that the company has done so by using forged letters. This medication is made from healthy human blood that has a high level of certain defensive substances or antibodies which help fight infections. It is more commonly used by patients with neurological disorders. Patients who used this drug in several hospitals were infected. Upon tests, it was confirmed that the drug that was used was substandard. On to your weather update this afternoon. The 102nd kilometer section of the Southern Expressway between Pinnaduwa and Imaduwa remains closed due to yesterday's landslide.
The Rangoda Hill near the 102nd kilometer between Pinnaduwa and Imaduwa suffered an earth slip yesterday, which blocked the Southern Expressway. As a result, all 4 lanes of the Southern Expressway have been blocked. All vehicles travelling from Kottawa to Hambantota have been informed to exit from the Pinnadu entrance and travel along the Gaul, Deniyaya, Madampe Road to re-enter the expressway from the Imaduwa entrance. Vehicles travelling from Hambantota towards Kottawa can exit from the Imaduwa entrance, travel along the Gaul, Deniyaya, Madampe Road and re-enter the expressway from the Pinnadu entrance. Officials of the Road Development Authority and the National Building Research Organisation also visited the site of the landslide and inspected it.
The landslide has affected about 150 meters. We hope to clear the road soon and open it for vehicles.
මෙතන ඇත්තටම කල්නුත් යම්කිසි නායෑමේ සලකුණු ඇතිවෙච්ච ප්‍රදේශයක්. ඉතින් අපි දැන් නිරීක්ෂණයට අනුව මම හිතන්නේ තවත් පස් ඒමේ හැකියාව.
This is an area that showed signs of landslides earlier as well. According to our observations now, I think there is very little possibility of more mounds of earth collapsing. That is why we decided to clear one lane of the road because there is a risk. We will open one lane and see if there will be another landslide.
මට්ටමක් තියෙනවා. ඒ දියර ස්වභාවයක් තියෙනවා. ඉතින් ඒකත් එක්ක මම හිතන්නේ කටයුතු ආරම්භ කරලා උදේ වෙනකොට බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා අපි මාර්ගය විවෘත කරන්න ඒ තියෙන මේ සම්පත් එක්ක.
Newsfirst correspondent said that Road Development Authority and Army officials are working together to clear the highway. Road clearance efforts have been hampered due to intermittent shower. The Road Development Authority said the people living in the upper areas of the mountain on either sides of the road of the landslide were informed to move to safe places immediately. 7 members of the Sri Lanka Police and the Police STF sustained injuries when the mound of earth collapsed onto the expressway yesterday. The police spokesperson said a police sergeant who sustained injuries is being treated in the intensive care unit of the Karapitia Teaching Hospital in Gaul. He was a police officer deployed for expressway security.
Meanwhile, a mound of earth collapsed in the Upanayaka Madula area on the Badula-Colombo main road last night. According to our correspondent, this caused a traffic delay of about 2 hours. Area residents, Road Development Authority personnel and police officers worked on clearing the debris off the roads to minimize further delays. Only one lane is functional as of now. Meanwhile, a section of the Amille Road running through Rendapula Nuwara has been swept away near Kalupalama due to heavy rainfall early this morning. According to our correspondent, a 3-wheeler driving on the Amille Road running through Rendapola, Nuwara near the Kalupalama at a time of the landslide had toppled 60 feet downhill. While there were 4 people in the 3-wheeler at the time of the accident, no one was seriously injured. Our correspondent said that the 3-wheeler, however, was severely damaged. The Road Development Authority officials came to inspect the site of the landslide. The police are advising the public to use alternate routes due to the collapse of the road. Meanwhile, the landslide red alert notices issued for Akuressa, Pitabedra and Hakmana areas are still in effect. Flood warnings issued under Phase 1 and 2 for several divisional secretariats in Badulla, Gaul, Hambantota, Kalutara, Kegol, Matara and Ratnapura districts continue to be in effect. The Department of Irrigation warns that the flood situation in Akuressa, Malimbada, Tihagoda, Kamburupitiya and Matana divisional secretariats could increase again. The department warns the people living in these areas to remain vigilant.
Water levels of the Nilwala River are increasing with the prevailing showery conditions, and by this morning the Panadugama water gauge was at 6.66 meters, effectively exceeding the flood levels. Owing to this, the Matara Kumburupitiya road was inundated from the Nadugala area. People of Nadugala, Bandattara and Thudava have moved to temporary shelters in various places due to the floods. The Badegama water gauge of the Gin River, which showed 3.95 meters last afternoon, increased to 4.20 meters this morning. Low-lying areas on either side of the Gin River and by roads continue to be inundated. Newsfirst correspondent said intermittent showers have been reported. The water levels of the Kiramoya have risen due to the opening of the two sluice gates of the Warapitia tank due to showers reported last night. Low-lying areas and around 50 acres of paddy fields that were close to being harvested in Hunga Mahambantota are inundated. The Department of Meteorology predicted showers or thunder showers over most parts of the island during the afternoon or night. The department predicted fairly heavy showers above 75 millimeters in the Uva, Central, Sabragamur and Eastern provinces.
Up next is Crime Watch.
Crime Watch.
A suspect has been killed in a shootout with the police STF personnel in Meetiagoda Thelwatha area this morning. Police media spokesman, Senior Superintendent of Police, Attorney at Law Nihal Taldu stated that the deceased is said to be a suspect involved in the recent shooting of a police inspector, Dadimuni Balendra. Dadimuni Balendra, a 47-year-old officer who was dedicated to suppressing organised crime groups, was shot dead in Rathgama on the 9th. STF personnel went to the location at around 5:30 am this morning after receiving information that the suspect was in Meetiagoda. The police media spokesman said that the suspect opened fire at the police officers and STF officials fired back, wounding him. He was admitted to the Bulletin hospital. He was 42 at the time of his death.
Crime Watch.
US naval ship Brunswick arrived at the port of Colombo on a formal visit today.
The Sri Lanka Navy said United States naval ship Brunswick arrived at the port of Colombo on a formal visit on the 11th of October 2023. The 103-meter-long spearheaded class expeditionary fast transport vessel is manned by a crew of 24 and it is commanded by Captain Andrew H. Peretti. During their stay in Colombo, the crew of the ship are expected to visit some of the tourist attractions in the country. USNS Brunswick is scheduled to depart the island on 15th of October.
The Israeli government has commenced the process of evacuating Israeli families living near the Gaza Strip.
Sri Lankan ambassador to Israel, Nimal Bandara, said around 20 Sri Lankans are in the area near the Gaza Strip and 2 had left yesterday. Nimal Bandara added that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has provided $20,000 for the welfare of Sri Lankans in Israel. He said the Sri Lanka Foreign Employment Bureau also provided $10,000.
Minister of Labour and Foreign Employment Manushana Naikara says that Sri Lankan workers living in Israel can decide to return to Sri Lanka at any time.
එන්න කැමති ඕනෑම කෙනෙකුට මේ වෙලාවේ ගුවන්තොටුපළට ඇවිල්ලා කිසිම කෙනෙක්ගේ සහයෝගය නැතුව වුණත් එන්න පුළුවන්. මොකද මේ ප්‍රදේශවල
anyone who wants to come can come back now even without any support. The airports are safe. You can decide for yourself. But for now, the embassy, officials and the foreign ministry are ready for anything.
අවශ්‍ය පහසුකම් සලසන්න ඕන දෙයකට තානාපති කාර්යාලය, ඒ වගේම විදේශ සේවා නියුක්ත කාර්යාංශ නිලධාරීන්, විදේශ කටයුතු අමාත්‍යාංශයේ සූදානම්ෙන් ඉන්නවා.
President Joe Biden has urged Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to follow the rules of war after the Israeli Prime Minister vowed to destroy Hamas following the Palestinian militants' brutal attack.
The president, who has dispatched a US aircraft carrier to the region in a show of support for Israel, also warned Hamas backer Iran to be careful. Biden told a gathering of US Jewish community leaders at the White House that the attacks on Israel, in which 1,200 people were killed, was the deadliest day for Jews since the Holocaust. But as Israel responded with airstrikes on Gaza, which Palestinian officials say have killed more than 1,000 people, Biden said he had spoken earlier Wednesday to Netanyahu. The remarks were the first time Biden had made any kind of call for restraint over Israel's response to what he called the sheer evil of the Hamas attacks on Saturday. Netanyahu had earlier vowed the complete destruction of the militant group. But Biden also had a stern warning for Iran, which backs Hamas and Lebanon's Hezbollah and is a long-term foe of both Israel and the United States. Meanwhile, Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas will meet U.S. State Secretary Antony Blinken on Friday. According to Hussein al-Sheikh, the Secretary General of the Executive Committee of the Palestine Liberation Organization. Blinken is expected to arrive in Israel in the next few hours in a show of support for the country and its people after the Hamas attacks.
The final rites of late veteran actor Jackson Anthony will take place at the St. Peter and Paul's Church in Ragama this afternoon.
The mortal remains of veteran actor Jackson Anthony are lying at his private residence in Kadavatha. Following the religious rituals, the body will be taken to the St. Peter's and Paul's Church in Ragama at 2 p.m. The funeral will begin at around 3 p.m. Veteran actor Jackson Anthony passed away last Monday morning while being treated in the intensive care unit of the Colombo National Hospital following a car accident. He was 65 years old when he passed away.
People of Wellamudawa, Punchikulama, Tirappanaya in Anuradhapura have been severely affected due to wild elephants attacks.
Wild elephants that encroached on the Wellamudawa in the Anuradhapura district last night damaged 2 houses. The villagers said that the wild elephants from the Nachadu reserve encroached on the village during the daytime as well.
Divisavya, the second leg of the Divisavya program to provide much needed school books and stationery items to school children in Sri Lanka. 13th of October, Sammanture, Akkare Pattu.
Dai Daruwange Anagate Winuwin Divisavya, LOLC Prajasatkaraක මෙහෙවර.
News first with the people.
The official ICC Men's Cricket World Cup India 2023.
The 2023 Cricket World Cup match between Australia and South Africa will be held in Lucknow today.
The South African team led by Temba Bavuma is looking to secure second victory in the series with today's match. South Africa is ranked 4th in the points table. Australia lost their first match to India and is ranked 7th in the points table. The two sides have played 108 one-day internationals, with South Africa winning 54 matches and Australia winning 50. One match ended without a decision and 3 matches ended in a draw. Today's match is scheduled to commence at 2 p.m. Sri Lanka time. Cricket fans can watch all the action of the World Cup via the MTV NBC networks, the official local broadcaster rights holder of the tournament. The matches are being streamed live on www.sirasatv.lk.
And that brings us to the end of this edition of Lunchtime News here on TV1. For the News First team, I've been Sanita Senanayake. Take care and stay safe.